Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, January 24. A number of operations are being carried out across the island in support of the state of public emergency declared in St. James. National Security Minister Robert Montego says the operations are geared at capturing wanted men fleeing the parish.
Divisions within Area 5 conducted a 24-hour blitz which saw increased visibility and intensified operational activities to include VCPs, raids, searches, and visits to persons on curfew orders. 18 persons were detained in St. Catherine North and 1 in St. Catherine South as a result of these operations.
In an update to Parliament Tuesday, Minister Montego said strategic operations had also been launched in St. Anne, St. Mary, and Westmoreland.
Portmore St. Catherine has been identified as a likely area where displaced criminals may be housed. As such, a joint team from CTOC and the Fugitive Apprehension Team, Mobile Reserve, have conducted targeted raids on several premises.
Since the start of the state of public emergency on January 16, 197 persons have been detained. Among that number are 10 men wanted for serious crimes and 83 who are believed to be connected to gangs in St. James. 178 persons are still in custody awaiting further investigation. 4 firearms and 30 rounds of ammunition have also been seized. In the meantime, Minister Montego says several pieces of legislation are being fast-tracked to strengthen the government's crime-fighting measures. The minister says the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, MOCA bill, will be tabled in the House next Tuesday. A revised Firearm Act will also be tabled in the next 3 months.
The amended legislation will feature new penalties and harsh and mandatory minimum sentences. This is the way to go, considering that the gun features in over 80% of all crimes in Jamaica.
At Tuesday's sitting of the lower house, Minister Montego also gave a commitment for the completion of amendments to the Fingerprint Act within 8 months. A timeline of 10 months was also given for the Anti-Gang Act and the Proceeds of Crime Act. Still on crime, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says government's declaration of a state of public emergency in St. James will have a positive effect on the economy. Mr. Holness was addressing Tuesday's opening of the Jamaica Stock Exchange's Conference on Investments and Capital Markets. He says, though there may be some initial jitters about the actions taken, in the medium term the country will benefit significantly from the intervention. The Prime Minister says government will be persistent in the suite of comprehensive measures to cut crime. Among them, plans to disrupt, undermine, and uproot criminal gangs and the networks they have formed.
We should never believe that the street-level criminals operate on their own. They are financed, they use our banking network, they are well connected, they use our telecommunications infrastructure, they have good transportation, they use our roads, they buy our cars, and they use them in the commission of crimes. So our crime plan is comprehensive, and we intend to deal with this situation once and for all.
February 1 has been earmarked as the start date for government's Motor Vehicle Pre-Shipment Inspection Regulation program. Under the initiative, a private company contracted by the state will inspect motor vehicles before they are shipped to Jamaica for sale on the local market. Industry and Commerce Minister Carl Samuda says the move will provide the Jamaican customer with value for money and protect from discrepancies in the age of the vehicles and tampered odometers.
So anyone buying a motor vehicle and looking at the odometer and saying it has done 20,000 miles, we anticipate that through this introduction of this regulation and this process, that will be a genuine reflection of the mileage done by the vehicle.
Minister Samuda was speaking Tuesday at a press conference. He said improved road safety, prevention of undervalued vehicle invoices and stolen automobiles entering Jamaica, as well as detecting contaminated vehicles were also expected from the initiative. Persons wishing to export brass in the scrap metal industry will first have to obtain a specific license from the Minister of Industry. The minister made the announcement Tuesday, outlining that the new licensing regime became necessary following the theft of 13 pieces of brass bearings from the Worthy Park Sugar Estate. The theft of the metal, worth about $15 million, is said to impact the reaping of the 2018-2019 sugar crop at the estate. As a result, there has been a temporary halt on the export of all scrap metal packed for shipping, pending investigation and search of trailers.
In addition, we heightened the inspection and the surveillance of all of the multi-user locations where scrap metal was being packaged for sale, for export. And we launched a massive, through the police force, investigation into this theft.
So far, 2 persons have been held for the theft. In the meantime, Minister Samuda is seeking to quell calls for the closure of the scrap metal industry, saying he's satisfied that all the necessary safeguards are in place to regulate the sector.
I am sure that right now everyone will agree, based on the experiences over the past few months, that it is well regulated and it is running quite well. So we will just be more vigilant, and we will solicit the support of all the key players and stakeholders.
And finally, persons identified to receive compensation as a result of the West Kingston May 2010 incident and who have not yet claimed are being urged to do so. In Parliament yesterday, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck said 148 persons are yet to come forward and claim the over $21 million left to be paid out in compensation. Based on recommendations from a compensation committee that was set up by the government to determine the persons and amount to be paid out, 447 persons were identified for monetary compensations. As at January 12, just over $178 million have been paid out directly to 270 claimants and to the estates of 29 persons through the Administrator General's Department. Minister Chuck is urging the other 148 claimants to visit the offices of the Justice Ministry and make the necessary arrangements to receive their compensation. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.